Welcome to the Rewards Master Live. I think this is number 48. So we're getting only four away from hitting a whole year of doing live streams. So it's great to have everybody here. Now, I had some trouble while I was traveling with this computer with my sound. So somebody just let me know if the sound's working okay. I think on my end it looks to be. So let me know if there's any kind of issue. All right, we got Jamie is in the chat today. Says, "What's going on, Bop?" Hey, Jamie, good to have you with us today. Looks like we're getting a few more people rolling in here on this Sunday afternoon, which is good. And so I am back home. Been traveling a lot the last few days because I've been traveling for work. When you're a educator and I have to hand out, I'm dean of my department, so I have to hand out diplomas every year at graduation. So I have to fly home to the mothership, to the main campus to go through all the graduation banquets and exercises and pinning ceremonies and all that stuff. So that's where I've been the last few days, and that's why I was out of my element, staying in one of the schools. They have some nice apartments for us there, staying there, and apparently the Wi-Fi wasn't working all that well. So I apologize for that live on Friday, but we muddled through it, started it again, and everything seemed to work out. All right, we got a few more rolling in here. We got Tulare. Hey, Tulare, channel member. Good to have you here. Says hello to Bop and everybody else. Free music's here. Says the sound sounds good. Great. Jamie, not going to let you get away with saying Amex is not number one in customer service. LOL. Well, okay. I guess to each their own, but do you have the Ritz card? That's the question. I don't even like the Ritz card that much. I mean, I do like the free night cert. That's why we got it, and it's got a pretty good certificate, but I have been blown away by that customer service. I mean, now everything else just kind of pales in comparison. So, but I will say, let me say this, Jamie, maybe this will clear the air a little bit. I do like Amex's customer service, and I think they have top-notch customer service. If we were doing a tier list of customer service, I'd put them in the A+ tier. It's just the only tier is going to be Ritz, because that is just smoking good. So that's kind of, at least by my experience. All right, let's see. Trying to get my mouse to work here is another challenge, apparently. All right, let me see if I can get this come up on the stage. Well, I'm not. I might just have to physically touch it. It is a touch screen. But no, it's kind of bugging out on me a little bit. I apologize. There we go. Love Points and Miles says hello. Good to have you with us today. Good to see you as well. Russell Robes is here and says, "What's up, Rewards Master? What's up to everybody else?" Of course, Mike Newland, the man, the myth, the legend, great friend of the channel and so many channels, is here. Says, "Good afternoon to everybody. Good to have you here, Mike." Coder Corral is here. Says hello to me and to everybody else. And Mike says it's freezing up. Oh, okay. Well, it shouldn't be. I'm back on my home Wi-Fi. Never have this problem here, so maybe it'll correct it. We can hear you, but the camera is choppy. All right. I don't know what the reason for that is, but hopefully it'll clear up here in a bit. Maybe we'll try at least. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, hopefully, to be able to get through some of this, I will dive into the material for today. So let me know as it goes through if it remains to be choppy, or if it gave you a like before you even asked. Oh, thank you, Sultan. Sultan gave a like before you. It seems to, I don't know why, but the last couple of times when I'm throwing them up on the screen, it seems to slow everything down and mess up. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to read them out loud. So don't think that I'm neglecting you if I'm not putting it on the screen. It's not for that reason. So let me know if that helps on the video, if it's holding out better that way or not. So let me know. Okay. New developments. So the new developments that I have for today is, I can get my slides to work. Here we go. Well, that's too far. There we go. I just changed my United card. So I changed my United card from my Gateway card. That's what I've had for years since I stopped being a United Flyer and caring about it very much. And so just this last week, I called Chase and I upgraded it to the United Explorer card. Now, I am not overly excited about the United Explorer card because the United Explorer card is just not what I would consider to be a super exciting type of card. I mean, it's got a $150 fee. It's got a whole bunch of like really broken up credits and all of that. And so it's not something that excites me. So why would I have done this? Well, let me say this. I've done the math on it and I think I can get much of the annual fee back. And then what I can't get back, I'm willing to chalk that up as an expense to have access to some stuff. So it's $150 annual fee. You notice I put on the screen irrelevant multipliers. So I really think they just don't make any difference whatsoever. And then there's two $25 Avis and budget credits. And I think I will use those, or at least use one of them every year. I'm trying to do both, and we'll talk about keeping track of credits a little later on, and because that's what the main event, the centerpiece is of this particular episode. But I can use that once or twice, probably once more realistic than twice. And what I did not know on this card is it seems to be, and somebody correct me if I'm incorrect, but it seems to be that the United Explorer card gives primary car rental insurance, which is kind of unique. I mean, that's really wild on an airline card. So it seems to be that's the case. The rideshare credit, it's $60. I can use that because I don't mind overspending to put rideshare credits into my Uber or Lyft account. So I've been doing this for a long time with the Delta cards. They get a $10, my Platinum card gets a $10 rideshare credit every month. And I put $25 on my Lyft account because I'm going to use it. I mean, I use it. So even if it builds up, that doesn't bother me whatsoever. I don't mind paying the extra. I've got that in my budget. So I can do that with that credit as well. And I think I'll be able to get that full $5 a month, $60 a year. Pretty easy. And then the two United Club passes, when I'm flying United, I will definitely use those. So I think that's perfectly fine. So my use case, the reason I wanted to get the United Explorer card and I upgraded to it, didn't get a sign-up bonus, anything like that. But what I was desiring was I wanted the expanded reward availability and the 10% discount. Now, I don't know if any of y'all are big-time United Flyers with a United credit card, but from what I've seen, there is a real 10% discount. However, when I started diving into this, I didn't find it to be true across the board. I don't know what I'm doing wrong because some days I found the 10% discount to some locations. Other days I didn't, because the way I'm figuring this is an 80,000 point flight should be 72,000 points and so forth and so on. And that was true on some days, but I'm not seeing it on every day. So I don't know if maybe my new card hasn't fully populated in my account or what it is, but somebody let me know if you've had any issue with this with your United cards, and if everything's giving you that 10% rebate or discount on award flights across the board. Because frankly, I will, if it's not going to give me that across the board, then I'll call them back and downgrade it again because I don't want this card for any other reason. I'll use the United Club passes, yeah, but I don't want to go through the trouble of these credits without that. That's the benefit that I'm really wanting, is that 10% discount on award flights. So please let me know what that looks like and if any of y'all have had experience with that. Okay, let me go back to the comments. We've got a bunch of them rolling in because we got over 30 people in here. Look, hit the like button. All right, let's see what we got. So, like I said, I put them on days. I was having a little bit of, it was getting a little bit where it was pausing on us and stuff. So I'm going to try to keep that from happening. And somebody let me know in the comments, is it better? Is the video better now that I'm not trying to throw things up on screen? Sultan says, I gave you a like before you even asked. Thank you, Sultan. That's awesome. Keg Tap 1414 says, hey, Bop, got approved for the Blue Business Plus as my first business card. All right, that's awesome. That was my first business card too. Now I have, between Nona and I, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have 5. We've had 6 through the years, but the very first one, and I think the easiest one to get approved for, is definitely the Blue Business Plus. So Keg, let us know what kind of sign-up bonus did you get? It can range everywhere from 15,000 points to 75,000 points. So let us know which one you got. Jamie says, I don't have the Ritz-Carlton credit card. Was going to, but Chase closed my accounts for too many recent accounts opened. Chase doesn't like me, but every other bank does. I've never heard of them closing somebody for that reason. That's like, wow, that sounds like an American Express move if they just get on their bad side for using foreign bank accounts or something. That's really strange. Stinky Monkey Baby is here. Good to have you, Stinky, or Monkey, or Baby, whatever. Hey, everybody. Sunday credit sermons with Bop. Hey, I guess that's what you could call it. Nick says, good afternoon, Bop and everybody. Good to have you here, Nick. Coder Built gives everyone their own concierge, though. How can you beat that? Well, an AI concierge sometimes. Yeah. LOL. Rob Knopper says, hey, RM, you mentioned booking refundable backup award flights, then rebooking. Which airline programs do you keep points in for this strategy? And how many miles do you keep in each? I keep it primarily American. They're great for it. I mean, American, it won't happen every time. Okay, so there's going to be times where you're trying to get that last minute next day business flight and it's still 324,000 points. That does happen. But sometimes that 325,000 point one drops to 90,000 or 85,000 or something, or 61,000 one time from Rome back to the US the day before. So American, I keep well over 100. I think we have 300,000 American points right now. And I think we have 200,000 plus in Atmos. That's the other one that does. Atmos will lower prices at the last minute. I don't see much of it on United. I don't see much of it on any of it on Delta. So yeah, the 2 programs, Rob, I hope that's helpful to you. The 2 programs I use for that are AA and Atmos. Okay. Coder says, wow, I just realized I was behind. Oh, I put it up on the screen just by instinct there. I hope it didn't freeze the video. Free Music confirms, yes, the Explorer card is primary CDW. Vincent Pascal gives a $1.99 gift. Thank you. Thank you. There's your golf clap, and we appreciate it very, very much. Says happy Sunday. And Coder Corral, oh boy, he's coming in hot. He's doing the Mike Newland thing. Coder gives 20 Rewards Master memberships. 20. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Give you a double golf clap on that. And if you receive one of those, make sure to give a thank you to Coder in the comments. I'll make sure to read it. Vicky Arnold says, hey, sorry I'm late. That's all right, Vicky. You're here. That's what Nick, anytime I connect through IAH, they always seem to have those signs up saying they're not accepting one-day passes. Yeah, and American doesn't do that, by the way. If you have the and I confirmed that on these travels this last week, that if you have one of the day passes from the Glow card or from the Strata Elite card, they don't do that. They will let you in, and I confirmed it at the Admiral Lounge. So that's important to know. But yes, United's pretty notorious for that. Jimmy Duff says, hey, Bop. Hey, Jimmy, great channel member, great friend of the channel. Thanks for being here. Free Music, thanks for the gift membership. And you thanked Mike, but that's Coder Corral, unless that's Mike by a different name, but I don't think so, because Mike was in here under his name. So thank you, Coder, for the gift membership. Tap says, thanks, Coder Corral. That's Keg Tap. Vincent downgraded my United Club to United Gateway. Yeah, that's where I was at on it. And I'll go back if I don't get that 10%. Nick says, I have the club card and always see the 10% discount. I'd imagine it would be the same with Explorer. Okay. Well, maybe mine just hasn't fully populated yet in my app. So I'll keep checking it. Keg, I have the Explorer card and not all reward availability showed up until I activated my card. Oh, okay. Cool. Vincent, that's the route I'll probably be going as well. Mike Newland, coder, nice. Thanks for the support of RM's channel. Yeah, I thank you as well. I thank you as well. Keg, I only got 15K because it was my very first Amex card. Okay, so you're talking about your Blue Business Plus. That's all right. That's what I got on the first one too. And you may get an offer for a second one. That happens. And it may be much more than that. So be watching for it because you can always open a second one, close the first one, whatever. Hybrid Vortex. Hello, everyone. A little late. What'd you miss? Well, we're just getting going. So you haven't missed anything. If you see the slide on the screen, it's the very first one. Free music. Thanks, Coder Corral, for the membership. Coder Corral says to Keg and Free Music, you're both welcome. Juan Garcia is here. Thank you, Juan. Like I said, for those of you jumping in, the reason I'm not putting the comments on the screen is we were freezing out a little bit, and it seems to do a little better when I don't. So trying to keep it as smooth going as we can. Nico Poli 125 says, you clearly use MasterCards more, but what Visa do you use for Costco or carry if you need one? I have no use. There's not a Costco within a 2.5 hour drive of me. So I love Costco, by the way. When we did live near one, we went there all the time, but we go to Sam's Club and they take MasterCards. So it's not a problem. So I don't really think about needing a Visa because Costco's not really in our situation. So Jimmy Duff, Bop, screen is freezing and voice is coming and going. Oh, is it still doing that? All right, somebody let me know. Mike, the connection is terrible, RM. Not trying to be negative. No, that's not you. I don't know what's going on with this connection. Free music, if you downgrade the Explorer card before 1 year, they will provide an annual fee as a rebate. Okay. Yeah, that could work if I need to downgrade it, but I haven't paid the annual fee yet, so I think it's going to be prorated anyhow. Jim says, good afternoon, Bop, and everyone else. Looking forward to hearing about your South Korea trip. I've never been there, but wife and I are going next year, so any advice or tips would be great. Thanks. All right, I'm excited to tell you about it. Dem is here. Hey, Dem, good to have you, man. And Coder Corral, I'm hoping to get a decent Blue Business Plus offer. 15K isn't worth it right now for me with the Palladium. Yeah, I get that. I understand that completely. And Dem says, good afternoon. All right. Hopefully I can move on to another slide. Let's see if this works. Trip report, Seoul, South Korea. So I put on some photos for everyone to kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay. So this first photo over on the left is when I was flying over in business class on American Airlines. So American Airlines business class has really come up in the world in the last little bit. It's, I thought it was pretty nice. About similar to what we've had on Iberia, which was pretty good. Similar to what we had on Condor, which was pretty decent. I would say pretty close to Polaris. United Polaris might have been slightly better, but not much better. So American's business class, and I flew it both to Korea and home from Korea. And last year I flew it from Rome back to the US. So that's 3 times I've done American business class now. And all 3 times I would rate it pretty good. B plus, A minus. Seat was nice. Food was, man, a couple of the meals I had on there were just as good as most airlines. And the service was decent. So it wasn't Emirates or it wasn't Etihad or Qatar, but it was certainly pretty decent. So that's my estimation of it. So the second that I have there, the picture on the top is just kind of a typical Seoul street there. It's a very colorful place in a lot of places. It's just so neat. And then the bottom is kind of an illustration, a picture I took of one of, I think that was a temple, or it might have even been, I mean, you can go to coffee shops that look like that. That's just kind of that Asian themed different architecture that you see all over South Korea. So it's really beautiful. And then on the right side of the screen, I have they were having a down at there's a little river, a little creek in the middle of downtown Seoul, and for it seemed like miles in that creek they had like little displays put up, and they were like from represented all over the world, and it was just really a neat thing. And so that's a photo of one of those, and they were lit up at night. It was just absolutely fantastic. And this was in mid-January when I was there. Okay, on the left, and this was just one of the most fascinating and heartbreaking things I've ever seen. So we went up to the demilitarized zone, and this is at like the visitor center at the on the South Korean, of course, side of the demilitarized zone. So you're looking over that river to North Korea, and these folks are there. That is a shrine or whatever that's been set up to kind of represent those people that haven't been able to escape North Korea to South. So people who made it to South, and oftentimes they'll escape or whatever it may be, if they make it to South Korea and they still have family, they'll go to this shrine and look out over the river to North Korea, and they will, pray for their family or cry out to their family. And some of these folks, that fella in like the big heavy jacket on the left, after this picture was snapped, he went up right up to the river and was crying out in Korean to his family over there. And I thought that was just absolutely heartbreaking and fascinating at the same time. So I enjoyed getting to go see that, although it hurt me. The difference between South Korea and North Korea is so fascinating because South Korea, and I was told this statistic at the school, the university where I was working, that in South Korea, they use more oil and gas in South Korea in one day than in the entirety of North Korea uses in an entire year. One day, entire 365 days a year. That's the disparity of income and wealth between the two countries. It's just so amazing. It's fascinating the difference between those two. So that was a really interesting part of the trip. On the right hand side, one of my students in class, I didn't have my cap on teaching, and I'm getting bald, but I think she was just the sweetest young lady and great student. But she decided to sketch a picture of her professor, and she said, Doctor, let me show you what I've done. And she showed me afterwards, and I thought it was a pretty good sketch, but I mean, my head is not quite that pointy, I mean, it's not quite that much. And she made me even a little more bald, so I just want to keep my cap on in these videos. That's what I'm doing. But she was a very sweet young lady, and I thought that was quite sweet that she wanted to draw my picture. So y'all feel free to make fun of and laugh at it all that you want. I put it here for your entertainment. So all right, let me go back up on the comments. Okay, let's see where we got to. Oh, Dim says he had a midday nap and he overslept. All right. Well, I understand that. Hybrid Vortex says to Nicopoli, change my shop card, and if I spend an extra, I use a 2% card. Oh, that must be because of Costco. Yankee Man 31 says, oh, I was in Seoul 6 weeks ago. Didn't plan enough time. Got to go back eventually. It is a great place. I absolutely love it. It is so clean. People are so nice. I mean, but it's not very expensive. It's really neat. So yeah, I've heard that to be true. Of course, I have to drive 2.5 hours to pick it up, so probably won't do that. Let's see. Uh, Ian says, "Have you been to Japan?" No, it's on the bucket list. Nona saying, "Oh, over and over, gotta go. We're going to Taiwan, Hong Kong." one day in China and Korea also. And always interested. Let's see. All right. Yankee Man says, I got a higher redemption value than I expected flying out of Seoul. Yeah, my AA redemptions, like I said, were pretty good out of there. So Nick says it was really cool to go to the DMZ. Yeah, it was. It was so fascinating. Rewards Master Mike Newland says, how about thank you? That was kind. How about thank you? That was kind. Okay. Make it your channel thumbnail. Yeah, you talking about the picture that she made of me? Yeah, yep. That was very cool that she did that, though. She was very. Those students are the most respectful, sweet students I've ever had, and I have students from all over the world, and they were just fascinating. They were wonderful. Free music. I think your student did an excellent sketch. Thank you. I think she did as well. Coder, I feel you. I'm going bald too, and the video conference at work has been killing me. I know. I do Zoom classes, and it's the same way. I've started wearing hats so I don't need to see my poor hairline on the camera during the meetings. Yeah, I get it. Nick, coming in real choppy on my end. I don't know what to do to fix that. I've worked on stuff on my end. I hope it'll correct. I'm trying what I can do to fix it, but Ian says just got 5 points per point on Delta, 120K for Delta 1 LAX to Sydney, a gross 7,000. No way an American Airlines will ever be worth 7K. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, but is Delta 1 worth 7K? I mean, that's, I think, the relevant question. But I would agree, Delta 1's probably worth more than American's first class. Dim laughs at probably the picture. Ian, connection's bad, but it could be mine. I don't think it's yours because others are saying the connection's bad. Dim, going to Japan next April. Can't wait. Mike Newland says it's spicy. Dim, same thing. And Mike says it's not you, Ian. Yeah, I like I said, I'm trying to figure this out, but hopefully we can muddle through it a little bit. Okay, now this was what Korea was what was wild. The food. Okay. On the left is some kind of mussels spaghetti pasta thingy majigger. And that was at the restaurant right across the street from the school. And I ate there a couple times. It was, I mean, I liked it. I like odd foods. The middle picture is kind of hilarious because the guy who was like my sponsor while I'm there, he was the guy who drove me around and, great guy, loved him to death. And he asked one night, he said, you want to go get some fish? You like fish? And I said, well, yeah, I like fish. What are you talking about? He said, like fish in the United States. And I said, okay, kind of fish. He said, oh, yeah. And I said, so it's fried fish. He said, oh, yes, fried fish. So we went, and that's what they brought us. And I don't know if you noticed, but it's on both sides and the head's still on and the eyeballs and all that stuff. It didn't matter. I ate it. The only I don't like about that kind of fish, I don't like to sift through bones, we were able to get it where it wasn't very bony. But just be warned, if you go to some of these countries and you say, is it like this? They may think it is, but it may not be, that kind of thing. And then on the right-hand side is what he called it a squid. That was kind of wild. I ate it. It was kind of more like a squid pizza, really, than that. And I like calamari, so I was fine with it. But yeah, it was different kind of food. Have any more comments? I don't think so. And we may have lost everybody because of the Mike. You can read that comment there if you want. Okay, so the next slide that I always try to give a travel report as far as the points, the mile angle of these things. So my entry travel, I booked it 2 days before it left because I had just an economy ticket booked. I was the main cabin extra, so it would have been me acceptable. But I was watching, and 2 days before I left, I snagged it at 95,000 points last minute in business and $5.60. So I was happy with that because that's a long flight from the US. From Memphis, Tennessee, that's a long flight. For the hotel, I did not stay in a hotel. They have nice new apartments on campus there. They're kind of more rooms rather than apartments, but it was nice. It was more than acceptable for me. So that's why I stayed. And then exit travel, I booked AA business through Atmos, and I did that 12 hours before my flight. So I had moved my way up premium economy, and I got that like 45,000 AA. I got it down to through Atmos just 12 hours before they had dropped the price to 75K taxes and fees. So I thought that was pretty good. Okay, going back over. Oh yeah, free music. It was. It wasn't as good as horse meat. I mean, I'm going to be really honest. That horse steak I had in Milan was the best of the best. It was one of the best steaks I've ever had. Maybe not the best steak, but it was up there. It was delicious. So didn't compare well to horse meat. Zorro is here. Good to have you here, Zorro. Dem says, I find that Atmos last minute international business class redemptions are far superior to booking in advance on the long haul flights. Yeah, that's what we're going to hope for in the fall because we're flying back on Starlux from Taiwan in October from Taiwan to LAX. And we got those cheap, like premium economy for 50K Atmos. And now they've gone way up and now the business class is super high. But we're going to be watching them, Dem, because I found that to be true with Atmos. Last minute, it gets better and better and better sometimes. So I found that to be true as well. All right. Well, I hope it's being a little bit easier to see. And I'm going to move on to the centerpiece. And I want to give a disclaimer as we get started into this, because I know that I'm crazy. And what I mean by that is there are going to be some people who watch this video when they watch the replay. Probably not those of you who are in the live because you're kind of more hardcore type of game in the credit cards world type people like me. But there will be people who watch this later who say, why would anybody do that? I mean, they're going to be like, that is crazy because they don't have the gamer mindset of this whole credit card points and miles world. They have the objective of traveling. I have the objective of traveling for free. We love, especially Nona, loves to spend my points and miles. If you watch her channel, you know that. That's in every video. Where am I going to go next and spend Bop's points and miles? So that's definitely something we love about it. But that's not all that I love about it. I love the game. That's why I don't mind having cards with a bunch of credits that I got to get the money. It's a challenge for me. I like to game it. I like to beat them. I like to find ways to get the highest amount of money for my free night certificates. You know, I want to use a Hilton free night for $1,200, $1,300, $400. And I mean, I feel like I won if I do that. I want to get the highest cents per point is a metric of victory when it comes to game world. It's a metric of victory. It is how those of us who have a passion for the game, it's how we can measure how we're winning or not, right? And all of these things are. So that's, I've got to give you a kind of a disclaimer at the beginning. This is how a game has a lot of cards, right? And a lot of high dollar cards, well over $7,000-8,000 in annual fees and tons of hotel credits and tons of food credits and all sorts of. How do I keep track of all that so that I feel like I'm beating or winning? Because I do get most, not all. You know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Not all, but I get the vast majority of my credits back. And get way more for my cards than I spend on those cards on annual fees. So this is how I'm going to kind of go through this. Let me get back to comments real quick before we get into the slides. Oh, let's see. I know we went through and saw Zorro's comment there. Dim says he really wants to buy Starlux. It looks like a good one. Yeah, I think I'm excited. Even their premium economy, I'm kind of excited about it, but I hope, of course, to upgrade to business. A tier says, I think that sketch is pretty awesome. What a sweet girl. Gift. Yeah, I thought it was so cool. She was very, very sweet. A tier, I'm a little behind. That's all right. You can catch up or you can watch it later. If it's cutting out, I apologize. Some have complained about that. Nick says, I want the bank tellers to bow down to me every time I walk in from the value that I get from the bank. Man, you know what you're doing. You're playing it. You've got the same attitude about it. That's exactly, Nick, what I'm talking about. Okay, so people say, how do you manage all those credits? How do you keep track? Well, I've always been a person like this. I mean, always, since I was 20 years old in college. I've always been a person who used a very strict budget, regardless of my income level. I mean, my income level in the early years was very low. And, that's kind of the way it is in education and the other things I do, church work and stuff. It was very low and it got way better through the years. So I just kind of rolled with it all along. And I always had the idea, stay out of debt, always spend less than you make, all of that. So I was very strict with budgeting. So I still use a budget that I track monthly. And on my budget sheet, apart from all the money out stuff, I have separate sections where I keep track of all this stuff. Okay. So I've just pulled little screenshots. I took some of the information off. I took some of it from old budgets and all of that. So I wouldn't reveal any personal information. But I took screenshots of my actual spreadsheet. And like I said, if you're not a hardcore gamer, this is going to seem crazy to you. But I promise you this, it wins. It wins. And so, starting off, tracking sign-up bonuses. Now, this is just a small section. This goes between 2024, mid-2024 to 2025, early 2025. So it's not up to date, but these are all the cards, and I just put them in the spreadsheet. When I get a new card and get a sign-up bonus, put them in the spreadsheet. So I can kind of know what I'm getting on my sign-up bonuses. So if you add all that up, I mean, that was in that 1 year span, that was a lot in sign-up bonuses, right? It also helps me keep track of what cards I've had, when I had them, things of that nature. So let me know in the comments, how do some of you track your sign-up bonuses? How do you track stuff? Tampa Travel says, do you use Mac Rewards to track your credit usage? I do not, because I'm so used to using spreadsheets. I have my routines, and the Max Rewards, I've looked into Max Rewards. I've had it. It's just, I don't know. Yes, I know for some people it's intuitive, but for me, it's like I'm just so used to my routine. It's what I'm comfortable with, because I've been doing spreadsheets with budgets for like 40 years. So it's like, it's just a habit of mine. So I think Max Rewards is a great tool for people, but I just thought I'd share how I do it. And none of this is to say that the way I do it is how normal people should do it or other people should do it. I'm simply trying to illustrate that if you have a way to track stuff, if you have a way to remind yourself of things you need to use, it's going to help you to win at the game of points and miles. It's going to help you to win. See if we have any more comments over here. Let's see. The last one we had was Tampa Travel. So that was the last one we had. Looks like we have 54 in here and about 30 have hit the like button. So if you haven't done that, please do so. Dim says, I still use Excel to track everything. Call me old school, but it works for me. OneNotes as well. Yeah, Dim, you and I are birds of a feather, man. That's exactly where I'm at. So that's how I track my sign-up bonuses. That's one little section on my big Excel spreadsheet. This is another section. Now I didn't know if that information was needed or not. So I blocked out the actual dates But this one shows our 524 status. Now, we're getting to the point where we don't care about that anymore, but it shows that our card velocity is I try to get a personal card twice a year in both Nona's name and my name. And so we have like an April, October, January, July velocity that I try to hit. And then I don't count business cards in that. So we get business cards periodically as well. And they don't count against that because they don't count against 524. So that's just kind of how I track the 524. That's a less important part, but it is on the spreadsheet. So I thought I'd share it. Nate Blankenship, I do spreadsheets and PowerPoints as well. PowerPoints. Oh, wow. I haven't done that, but yeah. Free music. I use my own spreadsheets as well to track spend by card and by spend category. Also helps when I have to gather annual spend for taxes. Exactly. Helps a ton. Now, the tracking I do on my spending on my phone, and I've done some stuff on that before for you, that helps me the most when it comes to separating out business taxes and personal taxes, stuff like that. So I'm with you, free music. Very much so. Let's see. Any other comments over here? Nope. All right, we got 52 watching. That's good. Okay, tracking card anniversary credits. Now, this is its own section, and you're going to see there's this. In fact, I might try to make this bigger for you. Okay, so there is two sections on credits. There's anniversary credits, and then there's kind of calendar year credits, right? Most of my credits are calendar year credits, but some of them are anniversary based. So the card anniversary. So if you got the card in June, then it's June to June, right? That's how those work. And that's harder to track on a list of cards that I just have to put a check beside it if I use it in a calendar year. So I have a separate section. And in this section, I have things like my free nights with Hilton Aspire, as you can see. Sapphire Preferred has that $50 hotel credit. IHG free night, Marriott free night, Hyatt free night, Alaska companion certificate, Hawaiian companion certificate, all of that. And so the first one there at the top is the 25-26 calendar year, or year between the two. And the second is between 26 and 27. So you'll see I used everything there except I didn't use the Sapphire $50 hotel credit. And I haven't used yet the Alaska or Hawaiian companion certs. And the truth is, I probably won't use those because Alaska doesn't fly. I have to drive a long way to get to an airport that Alaska flies to. So, and I can't use those like on AA flights. So, probably won't end up using those credits at all. But that's okay. I got those cards for the sign up bonus. So, no big deal. So, that's kind of how I track those anniversary credits. Nate says, oh, wait, for free music. Hold on. I use my own spreadsheets as well to track spend by card and spend category. Also helps when I have to gather annual spend for taxes. Yeah, we read that one. And then Nate says, my wife likes to see the images of the cards, so PowerPoints are helpful. Hey, yeah, believe me, I know explaining to Nona, I've got to do what works for her. So I get that very much. Dem, you might be able to give those Alaska certs away. It's a coupon code you apply. Really? Okay, I did not know that, but I might if it gets close to the end and I don't think I'll be able to, I will definitely look into that. Thank you, Dim. Appreciate it. All right, so that's kind of those anniversary credits. Now we get to the big boy. This is a long list of different credits, annual credits, calendar year credits that I have to use. And there are some of these that are nights. The hardest ones for me to use are the ones that are like hotel credits, free night credits. So as we go down through, I have bold faced the ones that are free night. So you notice at the top of the list, there's the Prestige card. Well, the Prestige card has a $250 a year credit that's super easy to use. I have an X next to that. I've already used that this year. The next is the fourth night free. And on that one, I've used it once. So I'll put another X there when I've used it the second time. And then you go through like the Aspire credit, 4 times $50 for airfare. I've got one X there, but that X is in red because when it's fully completed, I'll switch it to black. That kind of tells me when I see the X's are in black, I don't need to mess with it anymore this year because I've got my credit back. And so if they're in red, there's still more to come, if you understand. When I use them all up, I'll turn it to black. So that's kind of how I keep track of that. 2 times the $200 resort credit, $189 clear credit, and then the annual night certificate. And I put next to it like the month that it's going to expire, stuff like that. AA Executive, 120 Avis credit. Haven't used that yet. AA Globe Card, $100 splurge credit. Companion certificate. I have an X there because I don't got that yet. It'll be coming after my annual fee, next annual fee comes due. And then in-flight credit, I wrote a number there because of the $100, I've spent $24 this year. 2 snack boxes. So there's that. Venture X, $300 travel credit, used it. Sapphire this year, $50 hotel credit, used it. Delta Platinum, 150 stays credit. You notice that's boldface because I want to be able to just look and quickly say that's a hotel credit. So when I'm booking hotels, then the companion certificate, Amex Business Gold, Walmart Plus, use that. That just comes out every month. Amex Business Platinum, 200 Airline, 150 Dell, 2 times 3, the F300 FHR, you know, all those credits. So you get the idea. And I just go through, and when I use them, I hit an X. I put an X there, and then I'm done if it's a black X. If it's a red X, then I've still got more to do. And I look at this at the beginning of every month. And I think, what do I need to do this month? And I try to do it, usually right then. Okay, we gotta. So Free Music says, can any of your kids use the companion certs? I don't, they do, some of them fly out of Nashville, and I do think they fly to Nashville. I might ask my kids that. That might be a great idea. Thank you for that. Because in fact, when I'm done with this, I'm going to make a call because I think I might have one they can use. Dim says, where's the Turo credit? That's an important one. Yeah. Some of the dumb credits I just leave off. You know, it's like, if you use Turo, Power T, I'm saying for me, $30 a time. It's the most ridiculous, second most ridiculous city credit compared to Lyft, which is on the next slide, but still, I never used it once. So yeah, the Turo credit. That's funny, Dim. Good one. Good one. Dim says, I have 2 of those Alaska certs as well. If anyone needs them, DM me on Discord. Okay, cool. K-State Nate, the rich with points helps with a lot of this stuff too. Yes, it does. And I like Rich with Points website. The struggle I have with Rich with Points is I think a lot of people use it for what the points value is. And I don't buy into the way that they, value points. Like if you use the frequent miler, if you use the points guys, points evaluations, because points are worth different amounts for me than they are their average that they do. So that's the only thing about Rich with Points is that it uses that evaluation. And I think it's a fantastic website. I mean, Rich has done a great job with that, but that's the only thing that about it. But as far as tracking all this, that's very helpful. You're correct. Yuri's here. Hey, Yuri, good to have you here. All right, next slide. Let me turn it back to where it's big. This is, I say monthly credits. This is the stuff that I have to use every month. So in the first list, talk about the terrible credit Lyft at 3. You notice how many of them have an X? They're all NA, NA, NA. I'm thinking I put it on there because I thought, well, maybe someday I'll take 4 Lyft rides in a month on that card, but ain't happened yet. Probably won't. But then there's the Grubhub, $10. So you notice I missed it in January, but I got it February, March, and April, and May's not over yet. So I'm not doing very well this month. So I'll have to really get on it this week. The Amex Platinum, the Uber credit, used it every month. I didn't use it in January, I think, because I didn't have the card in January. I upgraded to it. United Explorer, just got that. So that's why it's all NA. It's $5 for Uber or Lyft once a month. So I'll be using that. Amex Business Gold, I missed it in March, but I've used either Grubhub or Office Supply every month since, including this month. Delta Platinum, $10 for Resi, $10 for Lyft. I upgraded to that in in March. So in April last month, I got both of those. And debit swipes, that's for a bank that I get some interest on. I've got to do 10 debit swipes a month. So what I do on the debit swipes, does anybody have that problem? I mean, I get like almost 5% interest on this bank account, but I got to do 10 debit swipes and I don't want to spend anything on a debit card. So I just keep that debit card in my wallet. And when I go to my grandson's ball games, because my grandson is 6 years old and plays baseball, they are thrilling, exhilarating sporting events, just so you know. But mostly what I do is I take my granddaughter to this snack bar and she wants a ring pop and she wants nachos. Ring pop's $1, nachos is $2. She wants popcorn at $1.50. She wants a soda at $2. She wants a bunch of things. So you know what I do? I ring them up individually. Debit swipe, $1. Debit swipe, 50 cents. And then she'll often on her nachos say, Bop, Bop, I want some more cheese. I ran out of cheese. Cheese is $0.25. So some of my debit swipes are $0.25. So it's almost always at the ball field. So that's what I do for that. Let's see here. Coder Corral wants to know what account. It's at a local bank here in the South. So if you don't live in Alabama or Mississippi, it's not available. If you do live in Alabama or Mississippi, send me a message on Discord or whatever, and I'll tell you the bank. All right. Dim says hit the like button. Thank you for that, Dim. Everybody, if you haven't done that, please do so. Oh, Free Music says you can set your own values with Richard Points. Okay. I didn't know that. That's very helpful. J. Carlos is here. J3 Carlos. The points value, I mean, for each currency, you can change it. Okay. And Dim says hit the like button. Thank you. Coda Corral asked about what bank account. Nate Blankenship, you can buy Lyft cash and then use it later when you have a bigger trip. Yeah, I do that every month. That's what I do. You have to buy $25 in Lyft cash, but I always have a trip every year. So just prepay those rides. I do the same thing. And Nick says 10 bananas. Yep, I could do the 10 banana strategy also. But to me, the extra cheese at the ball field and the ring pops works pretty well on getting the debit swipes in to get my interest. And I mean, when it's almost 5% interest, I think it's dropped now. It was 5%. Now maybe it's just over 4%, which is still pretty good right now on a checking account. So that's pretty good. All right. So let's see. Did I have one more slide? I did. Tracking lounge visits and upgrades. So this is the last one that I have. And this one is, I like to keep track of if I'm getting my value in other ways, like lounge visits. So Nona and I last year, we went to 104 lounges, and I'm including this list. Like you'll notice, I have Hilton lounge or meals. So when we go to a Hilton property and our status gives us a meal, a free meal credit or whatever, we'll count that as well. And actually, I missed some of those. I got to put some of those in because we did some of those earlier this year. So I'll have to fix that. But this is just how I keep track of all of our lounge visits. So you notice we went to 5 status lounges this year. I value those at $40 each. What that means is if you're flying business class, you're getting into that lounge because of your ticket status, right? So that's what I mean by that. It's not a lounge I can access through a credit card. And then Hilton lounge or meals, I should have 4 of those on there. I don't have them on, so I'll have to put them on. Priority Pass restaurants, haven't used any of those this year with my Prestige card, but most years there ends up being a few visits there. Priority Pass lounges, we went into 9 Priority Pass lounges this year between her and I, and each of us going in counts. That if we go in together, that would be 2 visits because we're getting, benefit of 2 people. So that's how I figure it. Capital One lounges, only Nona has access to those. I don't, so we haven't had any of those this year. American Airlines Admirals Club lounges, 16. We've went into 16 lounges this year so far. United Club 0, but hopefully I'll be 2 before the end of the year. Delta Sky Clubs, we went into 4. Amex Centurion lounges, we went into 9. Escape lounges, we went into 5. And experiences, that's when we went to the spa when we were heading overseas in I think in LaGuardia. We went into the spa experience, so that's an experience. And then upgrades. So I used to have status with all the airlines. I still have, um, of course, status with American. I don't think I have any with Delta, but I will have silver before the end of the year with Delta. Probably not with United at all. And then I put Hilton rooms if they upgrade me because I do have diamond status with them. So United, I haven't had any upgrades, of course. Delta, no upgrades because I have flown many times in Comfort Plus this year. But as I said, I've not had any upgrades this year. So we'll just leave it at that. And American, I've been upgraded 3 times, 2 of them in the last 3 days. So I've been upgraded to first class 3 times. So that's how I keep track of all of that. Well, that I think is all of my slides. So I'm curious about your comments. So let me go back and catch up on comments. Let's see. I think that we don't have that many more. Free Music said, does anyone know if you can load $10 Bilt cash to your Lyft account and accumulate credit? Or I don't think you can, because when I used that Bilt for Lyft, it was kind of a discount on the ride. That's how it worked for me. But if somebody knows different, let us know. But I don't think so. Free Music, thanks for the response. Nick says that it expires at the end of the month. And Nick says, thanks for the response. That's what I thought. Yuri says, I usually go to Corona Beach House with Priority Pass. They accept unlimited number of passes at $30 each. Oh, interesting. Okay. Very cool. All right. If anybody wants to make any final comments before I wrap up this afternoon, we have a group coming over from the young youth group at church. So I know Nona's going to be wanting me to help get everything ready. So got that coming up this evening. But let me go back through and thank everybody who was so generous. Sorry about, again, the video cutting out. Seems like it probably got better towards the end, so that's good. Coda Corral gifted 20 Rewards Master memberships. Thank you, Coder. I appreciate it so very much. And I know everybody who benefited from those memberships has as well. Vincent Pascal gave a $1.99 gift. Thank you so much, Vincent. And I think that's what we've had today. Well, I hope it was beneficial to you to learn about how I track all that stuff. It's a game to me, and I know to many of you it is as well. And I feel great sense of satisfaction that these giant banks, Chase and Citi and American Express and now Bilt, that, they're going to hopefully, if their algorithms could think, which they can't, well, with AI, maybe they can, I don't know. But if they can, I hope they think, man, we should have never took on Bop, because Bop, he's been playing the game and playing it right. So that's what I like. I enjoy it. That's why everybody's always about more simplicity. More simplicity to me, I'm just going to be honest. I know for some people that's what they want, and there's nothing wrong with that. I applaud that. For me, simplicity is boring. I want complexity, and I want to be able to beat it and work at it because it's fun. It's fun. So I know not everybody's that way, and that's fine. That's fine. Free Music says Coda Corral, Waldorf Astoria, New York, or Beverly Hills. Okay. Oh, Coder said, I just got my first Hilton free night certificate. Anyone have any recommendations for places to use it in the U.S.? He says Waldorf Astoria, New York, or Beverly Hills. Those are great. The Conrad Fort Lauderdale, we got a $1,200 room last year and got upgraded. It was awesome. The Conrad in Fort Lauderdale. Like I said, it was $1,200 room. It was great. We've used it. Well, I guess we haven't used it all that often in the United States, but yeah, that was a good one for us. But Waldorf Astoria, New York, Waldorf Astoria, Beverly Hills, both of them great choices. All right. If we don't have any more comments, then I'll probably wrap up. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you have a great Sunday afternoon. Thanks for being here. Dim says Palladium makes things very simple for my setup. Yeah, it is. People think it's so complex, but compared to what I just showed you, it's really not, right? I mean, the Palladium is kind of easy for the serious gamer. And Dim says it's the irony, right? Although everyone thinks it's a complicated card, right? Well, yeah, it's not as complicated as some of the others can be. All right, I'm going to wrap up. Thank y'all for being here, and thank you for the gifts again, Coder. Thank you for music. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate you. See you here next time.